All right, ladies and gentlemen, on the previous slide, you were supposed to take all of the data that we have here, and you were to take these numbers right here and put them in order from least to greatest and find the landmarks. I should have started crossing out my smallest numbers and put them in order from smallest to largest. Once I have them in order, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to find my mean first. So to find the mean, I'm going to add them all up and then divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 numbers. So I have my 10 numbers here. So I'm going to start adding. Okay, when I added them all together, I get 130. I'm going to take and divide that by the 10 numbers I have, and when I do that, I get a mean of 13. If I move on to my median is my middle number. So I'm going to go ahead and cross off my lowest and my highest, lowest and highest, lowest and highest, lowest and highest. Looks to me like I have 4 numbers below and 4 numbers above, so I did it correctly. My middle 2 numbers are 9. Now remember, when both numbers are the same, my median is just 9, but I can still prove that to you by adding 9 plus 9 equals 18. 18 divided by 2 does give me my 9. So my middle number is 9. For those of you who I showed the trick, you can take and add 1 to it and then divide by 2. That's supposed to be 11. Sorry, guys. If I divide by 2, I get 5.5. You will notice it is the 5th and the 6th number. Okay? And finally, the last thing I need to do is look for my mode. My mode is my number that is there the most. If I go through and I look, it looks to me like I have more 7s than any other number. So to visualize this a little better for you, let's take my numbers and let's actually draw out a dot plot. Ready? So let's see if I can quickly draw a dot plot for you. Looks to me like my minimum or my smallest number is 7. And my largest number right here is 15. So I'm going to, just to make it a little easier on myself, I'm going to go from 0 to 50. In the middle of 0 to 50 is 25. And then if I want to count by 5s, I could do 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. Not perfect, but you know, it will work. So I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to put my dots here. So my first number, okay, let me go back here a little bit. Let me actually number these. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here's 10. Here's 11. Here's 12. And then 13 and 14 would be in here, and that's really all I need. So those are the important ones. So let's go ahead and let's add my dots. So it looks to me like I have a 7 and a 7 and a 7 and an 8 and 2 9s, a 10, an 11, a 12, and a 50. Now immediately as soon as I do that, you may have noticed that there's one number that's out here all by its lonesome. We call this an outlier. So most of my numbers are grouped here in this cluster, here between 7 and 12, and then I have this outlier that's way out here all by itself. We learned when we talk about which measure of center, so which measure of center best represents the 10 numbers, we learned that the mean is the best option, right? However, when there is an outlier, my mean gets pulled toward the outlier. So if we ignored my outlier and say it wasn't here for a minute, so this 50 out here, say it wasn't here, and we looked at just these numbers right here, my mean should be kind of somewhere in the middle of them because they're all pretty spread out pretty equally. But because there is an outlier, this 50 here makes my sum of 130 much larger by having this 50 here. So my mean ends up being right here. And I told you the trick in class that you want to look, your mean should be in between your minimum here and my maximum. And if these were just my numbers, then my mean should be somewhere in between them, but it's actually here at 13 because of this guy out here. So my mean doesn't make sense. It is not the best measure to represent and summarize the 10 numbers. So when the median doesn't work, we always go with the mean, okay? We don't really want to know the most popular number, okay? We want to know about how many are sold each week, okay? So which is not the best measure of center? Well, I would actually say both the mode and the mean. The mean is not a good measure of center because of this guy here, the outlier. And the mode is not a good measure of center because if you look down here, see my mode is 7. That's the smallest number. So if I thought that only 7 kids were going to buy a t-shirt each week, I would run out of t-shirts quickly because look at all these other weeks here where more were bought. Okay? How many t-shirts, let's look at our last question. How many t-shirts should be purchased for the next 30 weeks? Explain your thinking. So if we go with the lowest number here, the 7, we will probably run out because most weeks we sold more than 7. If we go with the mean, it's possible that we could have extra t-shirts left over because all of the weeks way up here at the top, most of these weeks way up here, we didn't sell 13 shirts each week. One week we did, but that was the second week, and that was probably when we first started buying them, and kids went, oh, wow, there's these shirts, I want to get one. So there was a surge of sales in the beginning, and now they've kind of leveled off, and we sell far fewer than 13 each week, okay? So what I would do is I would take this median here, and we sell about 9 shirts each week. Some weeks it was a couple fewer. Some weeks it was a few more. This crazy outlier right here, okay? So I would buy 9 t-shirts for each week times 30 weeks. Because see, ladies and gents, what happens is you probably don't realize this, but when you buy t-shirts, typically there's a printing fee. Okay, they set up the screen print or something. So if I only buy a couple t-shirts and then sell them all and I have to get them printed again, I have to pay that fee again sometimes. So it's easier to just buy as many as you're going to need in the beginning. However, you don't want to buy too many because if I buy a whole bunch of t-shirts and then nobody buys them, I'm never going to get the money back for the t-shirts that I bought. So then I'm losing money. So it's kind of like this delicate balance. You want to buy enough, but you don't want to buy too many because then you're stuck with them and then that costs you money. So if it's 30 weeks, I use the median of 9. It would be about 270 t-shirts I would place my order for. So we can use statistics. We can take a set of data. We can summarize it using our measures of central tendency down here. And we can use it to help us summarize our data and not only summarize, but then we can also apply it to information.